Good afternoon, Crimson Tide Nation, and welcome to the 4th edition of Crimson Tide Live, right here on Alabama at the Voice of College Football. As I'm yours truly, Jackson Johnson. This is my partner in crime, Johnny Burts, as we bring you the latest news and notes on the Alabama Crimson Tide. How's it going today, man?
Oh, it's going well. Weather down here is finally taking a turn for the best. Low humidity and temperature's not too hot, so we're easing in September. I think we got 1 more week before fall. 21st night of September.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yep, 5 more days. 5 more days till fall.
That's when really the fall ice football. That's all across the country. We can all really start connecting and enjoying it.
Oh, there we go. Nice. Here we go. And we got a lot of people getting excited about this show as Bob Adam gives out a Roll Tide. And friend of the Voice of College Football, Joey Foster, gives out a howdy Tide fans. Smash the like button, invite your friends. No doubt about it. Let's get the 2,500 subs. And Kirk H says, Joey sent me up to sub up and give a like. Thank you, Kirk H. We appreciate it very much, good buddy. Seymour Butts says, Joey told me about the channel. Oh, man, I love it. I appreciate it, gentlemen. I appreciate Joey. Thank you so much. And Time Capsule here at Joey's request with a like and a sub. Appreciate it. Nick Herr said, Joey sent me. I appreciate it. And as we get closer and closer to 2,500 subs, tell your friends, your family, and the cashiers at Publix and your frenemies about Alabama at the Voice of College Football as we bring you the latest news and notes, including the post games on Saturday with Zach Remulus and friends, as we all go over the takeaways from the Alabama games on Saturdays during the season, except for week 4 and for the first week of November, because for 5 weeks, of course. But if you love top-notch quality news and notes on Alabama football, like, comment, subscribe to Alabama at the Voice of College Football. Click that notification bell so you never miss another video whatsoever. And let me tell you something, you're not going to want to miss it. But, I want to go over a little something. And it's pretty obvious. We smashed the Wisconsin Badgers at Camp Randall Stadium. And, when we beat them on Saturday, it was the largest lopsided loss in quite a while for Wisconsin. And the last time Wisconsin had that big of a loss was October 11th, 2008, where the Badgers lost 48-7 to Penn State. What's your take on that, man?
We were talking last week, and the key to me was speed. And Alabama just rolled them with speed. I mean, it's just big play after big play, and that, like I heard one of the commentators say this weekend, it's true. Speed kills. I mean, there's no remedy when you have speed, and I was on full display. Now, when there were times when Wisconsin tried to, especially open drive, and I've said I don't put much into opening drives because I know most of them are scripted, and they have their little script. They focus on watch our film, see what we're going to do in defense and these formations. So I know first drives are scripted, and I think teams have been 3 for 3 with regard to us on opening drives. But after that, then everything kind of settles in. That type of scenario. And so kind of same thing, same scenario, but Alabama just big plays and did exactly what I was hoping they would do, cut down penalties. I was very pleased. I think they only had 4, and that's a lot better. That shows a little more discipline if they can keep that up. And I think that'll be really beneficial, especially 2 weeks from now, or less than 2 weeks from now when Big Georgia rolls in. And speaking of which, I think they laid a big egg and up in Lexington. I tried watching as much of it as I could, but gosh, I mean, that was just a boring game. I mean, it was unbelievable. I don't even think Georgia had 300 yards. I think Kentucky had more total yards than Georgia did. Now, I know they're probably looking forward toward the Alabama game, but still, I mean, that was That was hard to watch. That was brutal.
Oh man, I remember the old days where Georgia was always losing a game they shouldn't, but now that it's in the Kirby era for like almost a decade,
Yeah,
that they always have that one game where they look kind of sloppy. And especially we saw it in 2022 where they looked sloppy against Kent State. And a lot of people were asking, Georgia, where are you? Yeah, Kentucky. I think this is one of those games for Georgia where it's that game where people are asking, "Hey, Georgia, where are you?"
yeah. Well, they weren't inspired. I didn't see. I now panic starts setting in late and stuff like that, and you see a little more edge to them. And but I didn't see a lot of inspire. I don't know if they were overlooking. I don't know, but that's not a good. That's not a good sign heading into. It's just a little doubt heading into Tuscaloosa. They got to come Tuscaloosa, and if they think it was tough playing in Lexington, wait till 104,000 slam right in their ears. So. But I'm sure Kirby Smart's a good coach. He's got a great pedigree. He's been around good coaches, so I'm sure he's going to jazz them up and talk it up this past or these coming next few days, and let them know, hey, got to bring a little more energy into the stadium with you, and just don't expect to walk in there and walk out with a W. It's going to be a tough fight, but it is that little seed of doubt headed into the Alabama game. And you saw what happened with other people. They dropped them number 2 in the polls. Who thought that was going to happen? But
Oh yeah.
the game in and of itself spoke. If I were voting, I'd have dropped them. I don't know if I'd have dropped them to 3. I mean, that was terrible. I mean, it was no inspiration at all. No fire, no flame, no anything. Just Dullsville. And
Well, and
I'm sorry. I didn't see any part in the game where they, you know, seemed like they were emotionally involved in it. I mean, a couple of players, yeah, but I mean, as far as the team, I didn't see the big emotional connect to the situation.
yeah. Well, and we saw in the AP poll that Texas is number 1 for the first time since '08.
Deserve it.
And
They deserve it.
oh yeah. And in the coaches poll, they're number 1 as well. But most importantly, they are number 1 in the Mark Rogers top 25 that actually makes sense right here at the Voice of College Football. That's the important poll right there.
Yeah, exactly. But they deserve it. I mean, they're playing. Now they're going to lay an egg sooner or later, but right now, I mean, they're playing better than anybody in the country. And offensively, defensively, I'm not going to say offensively because I mean, you're looking at Ole Miss, but I mean, they haven't really been tested yet. But I mean, Ole Miss is it's just doomsday for anybody that's been playing them right now. And I mean, Jackson Dart is just throwing the ball all over the field. But right now, team wise, if Ole Miss Texas were to play, I'd put money on Texas. I think Texas is deservedly number 1, and they'll stay there until somebody knocks them off.
Well, and Five Adam agrees with your sentiment about Texas being beatable. He definitely agrees with that, Johnny.
Yeah. They'll lay an egg. Everybody's going to lay an egg. Nobody's going undefeated. But laying eggs against really, really, I mean, that Kentucky was just unfathomable. I mean, you just never predicted that. You thought they'd come out and take care of business and really be up for the game. But I mean, it was just it was
Oof.
Dolesville.
Oh yeah. Well, in Sports Talk with Austin, my good partner in crime from Wednesday nights and Saturday nights, says that I think they were looking ahead to Alabama, didn't take Kentucky seriously. Oh, everybody looks ahead to Alabama. That's how it goes.
Yeah, but I mean, Kirby Smart, I mean, he knows the system. He knows how it works. And Kentucky's under Stoops has been a very, very consistent program. And just to, be so lethargic is the scary thing. I mean, yeah, looking ahead to Alabama, but Alabama wasn't looking ahead to Georgia versus Wisconsin. So I mean, it'll be interesting to see how the troops rally, so to say. Now I know Alabama will be ready for Georgia, but and I'm Georgia will come in whatever I would imagine, but will there be a lull in the game where they just pull a Kentucky? That's not a good trade in a team early in the season. Just to
Yeah, you cannot play like that against
no,
unless
not this early. Not this early. I mean, everybody's still excited. The season's just now starting, and that's a good SEC game right there. So we'll see. I'm not going to panic mode yet, but
yeah.
that would be concerning.
Yeah, because I mean, you can't be panicking in September, and you most certainly can't panic in week 3. You if it's like week 13 or week 7, week 8, then it's time to panic.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean,
Alabama, going back to Alabama, I thought the Wisconsin game, I thought opening drive, yeah, they ran the ball and pushed it down the field, scripted. I understand that, but then after that, Alabama settled in. They had second. Is it second or third time in a row? Their opening drive, I think it was the second time. Opening drive, kind of. I don't know what they're scripting on. I don't know what Coach DeBoer is scripting over there, but hadn't been very good. But they really did improve. They were connected in the game. Like I said, cut down on penalties. And I think now penalty wise, I think they're in the top 50. I was looking at some NCAA stats, and if they can get penalty wise, I mean, if you can get down in the top 30 in the country penalty wise, I mean, you're going to have a really, and be as talented as Alabama, you're going to be a really tough opponent to play. And that's always been, Alabama historically, it seems like penalties have been, whenever we're in tough games, it's always coming down to, something to do with some stupid penalty and things like that. And then I think if they'll limit these teams with, these long time consuming, drives, but, time will tell. But I think they did make some improvements. Third down defense is still, I mean, teams are going to have to get a good chunk on first or second down, get really close to making it on third down against Alabama. But right now, I know they're top 10 in the country on third down percentage. It's really hard. Once Alabama gets you third down, it's been tough getting that first down. So they need to really push that with the players, get them excited. They're a good third down team.
oh yeah, I saw where Jam Miller and Jalen Milrow were having a great time on Saturday against Wisconsin, and a stat that I saw after the game ended was that Kalen DeBoer was the first year head coach at Alabama since Frank Thomas at 1931 to lead Alabama to 30 straight to having them score 30 straight points in the first 3 games of the season in 1931.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never would have thought that. That's interesting.
Oh yeah.
But
Well, I
yeah,
mean,
we were talking earlier, mentioning players of the game. Milrow, I mean, I haven't given it to him, but I'm giving this one to him. Jalen, I thought he had an outstanding game, and I thought he threw the ball well, big plays. I mean, he's just, best athlete on the field. And then defensively, OLT Overton. I like Tim, Tim, defensive lineman McMillan. No. Anyway, the big defensive lineman, I mean, he's a run stuffer. And then LT Overton, I thought he brought a lot to the table. I think he had led the team in tackles, and then forced a fumble, and I think he had a sack. Yeah, he had a sack. That's right. So he had a really strong defensive or a good game defensively, and he's the one from Texas A&M, right? I bet they miss him over there.
yeah. So that's going to be interesting to see what goes on. And also, I was thinking about where Tyler Van Dyke got hurt in the game, and we got a report as of today from Colton Bartholomew at Badger Extra, where he has reported that Tyler Van Dyke is out for the rest of the season due to that knee injury that he suffered against Alabama.
Wow. And I were talking earlier, and it just seemed so innocuous. I mean, I didn't see anything just totally out of the ordinary with regard to it. Some of those times you cringe, you're like, oh my gosh, because of the orientation of the knee and the angle of the tackle and the force and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, it just seemed like he just went out of bounds. At first, I thought they were going to call another one of those penalties, for late tackle or something like that. But the way he went down on the ground, I never would have thought. But, when I saw him come out from the sideline, he was in street clothes and he had the boot or the knee brace and all that kind of stuff. I started thinking to myself, it had to be something pretty serious. Just a tough break, tough. You hate that early in the season. He's probably a 5th, 6th year guy. And and that's a long. Well, it's not as long as it used to be, but that's going to be a long recovery, and it'll be interesting to see if he tries to come back next year, because it seems like probably, I don't know, maybe this year is going to be gone.
Yeah.
But
I,
I didn't think it was that tough of a tackle. But you never know. Human body's frail. I teach anatomy. I mean, it's frail. Right angle, right. It happens. Did they say if it was an MCL, ACL? Is it a ligament? Is it a meniscus, tendon, cartilage?
I think they said it was an MCL.
Okay, medial.
Yeah, he's not looking so good, but
No, I hate that for him.
yeah,
You put a lot of work into it, and then it happens just out of bounds. He was running out of bounds, and it wasn't an illegal tackle. There was no penalty, no anything. It just happened. So
yeah,
it's tough loss.
for sure. But in order to get some top-notch security, go to aura.com/MarkRogers to get a 14-day free trial to secure your finances, information, and identity. Get peace of mind where your finances and everything will be protected at aura.com. So come on in to the website and get everything protected. And I was thinking, we were just talking about the player of the game. And I think Brian Williams makes a pretty good case for it. I mean, dude is not even 18 years old, and he's already making huge impacts in Tuscaloosa. Loving what this kid's bringing out.
Well, I'm going to tell you, the biggest thing that he brings is kind of like, I don't know if I want to, I've heard comparisons to Mari Cooper and Calvin Ridley. But what he does is when, they're putting those two safeties, playing too deep in the safeties and trying to, run corner on him on the outside. And then now he's able to go deep and pull that safety, pull the safety with him on that half of the field. And then now the middle of the field with the tight end is just wide open. Like finally, I was just jumping for joy when I saw him throw that pass, to the tight end in the middle of the field there in the second half. But that's what he's just drawing attention to, away. And so that frees up somebody else. So it's just, it spreads the wealth for other people. And then Jeremy, I'm still learning their names. Anyway, he's become a good clutch receiver. I see Jalen going to him quite a number of times. But freeing up the secondary, drawing attention in the secondary just frees everybody up. And he's doing it. The kid, he's got a motor. He can stretch a defense, and that's going to open up a lot of opportunities.
Oh yeah, it's going to be fun seeing what happens with the
and we haven't had that in a while. Now, you remember Calvin and Amari, they did it, and we know the great things, happen with regard to them with the offense, with them pulling, double coverage and things of that nature. And that's what he's bringing to the table. And we haven't had that, somebody out there that just that type of, just one speed and then the athleticism. Once you catch it, you know how to shake and bake and juke and jive and get open, make people miss.
Yeah, that's what you got to do. You got to get it rolling.
Yeah, I'm interested. I'm gonna be very interested. First couple of drives, see how when he's in the game. I don't know if they're are they starting him yet, or they're bringing him in. I think they may be starting him now, but I'm gonna see. I'm gonna see what they're doing with their safeties on the outside with him. And then what's going to happen too, if they start trying to double team him, then they're going to start motioning, and moving him across the field back and forth. And then that's going to be, add a little dynamic there. So I'm that's the thing. When you're watching the game with TV, you get to see the middle of the action, the offense, defensive line, stuff like that, but you don't get to see a lot of what's going on in the secondary. That's why I like when I'm, at a game, I like being up in the stands and I can see the secondary and see what's going on and how they're rotating. And so it's going to be interesting to see that opening 2 or 3 drives, how they defend him, and then what Alabama counters with.
Yeah.
And, Kirby being the defensive guy, he's going to be on it. And he was there when Amari and those guys were there. So it'll be interesting how he's going to defend that. He may not be able to defend it.
Well, 5 Adams says the O-line played well with 57 Elijah at right tackle.
Yeah, did. That worked out well. It did. They
Yeah.
made mistakes and stuff like that. I think if now they have the week off, the practice week. I just think that their balance, the offensive linemen staying in front of people and maintaining the balance, and in their hands, they've got to keep their hands inside. They keep those hands getting around the shoulder and getting to the outside. That's going to draw those those holding penalties and stuff like that. So they got to work more on shattering and keeping their hands not outside, but more inside, and staying, closer body to body with the defensive lineman. But they're doing better, doing better.
Oh,
Seemed a
yeah.
lot more, a lot better flow.
Well, I'm looking forward to see what we bring out against Georgia. That's gonna be awesome seeing what we do.
Yeah, defensively and offensively, see what we do. But I really, Georgia's going to be good on defense. I think, like I said, I think Ryan Williams is going to bring something to the table there that's going to make him change some things. And then without Brock Bowers out there at tight end, I feel a lot better. I think physically up front, I think we're going to match up very, very well with Georgia. I think Georgia's going to be quite surprised.
Oh yeah.
I think it's going to be a lot. I don't know what. Have you seen a spread already? No, it's way too early. My bad.
Oh,
It's
that's
too
another
early.
thing. That's what Austin was asking if Alabama's gonna be favored in the Georgia game.
It's going
That's
to be
what he,
interesting after that Kentucky game. Look out! I mean, there seeds of doubt.
oh yeah.
Putting that kind of money up on Georgia because they laid an egg in that one. That wasn't even funny, and they
Oh yeah.
cost a lot of people some money too. I bet you Las Vegas wasn't happy with that one.
Oh yeah. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
25, yeah, over under, what was it? And they was 25, 13 to 12. Wow, who'd have thought it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's going to be close. It'll be well. I'm talking about the spread. I think it's going to be close. I wouldn't surprise me. I think they're going to give probably Georgia, since they're defending and all the great preseason number one. They're going to give them benefit of the doubt on the Kentucky game, but it's going to be a lot closer. And I feel really good Alabama's chance with Georgia.
yep. Just win, baby. I love that. I love that.
And to be honest with you, Georgia was a better team last year, and Alabama won.
Oh yeah.
Bottom line, they were a better team, but Alabama, so here we go again.
Well, and people tend to forget as well that the 2022 national championship is the only win that Kirby Smart has against Alabama.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what a
and
lot of people have forgotten.
yeah, and then there in the fourth quarter, mistakes. Those mistakes. Late Bryce Young threw that pick, and it was that game was a lot closer. It was close until the end, and they got a couple of late ones there, but it'll be a matchup of Titans. I kind of like Alabama, and I like what they're doing on defense too. Don't get me wrong. And they play. I'm surprised other teams are playing a lot. Senior, junior, transfer. A lot of transfer graduate players, but Alabama's playing a lot of freshmen. You look on defense, a lot of freshmen, and then the player out of Montgomery Carver, Quasi, is he going to be back? Russo.
Yeah.
He's a redshirt freshman. A good little ball player right there. I say little.
Oh yeah.
Good player right there. I hope he's back. I didn't see I know he was injured and he left. I didn't see if it's anything long term or whatever. But then they've got those defensive backs, and then the punt returners are freshmen. So they play a lot of young players. It's exciting to see.
Oh yeah. Well, and speaking of bets, friend Mark Rogers has something to say about some bets in all of college football.
College football is even more exciting with some action on the line. And the games are even better when you're cashing in. And the voice of college football is the place to be to get the greatest value. Let's start with my picks. 75% against the money line, 58% against the spread. I've got a 40-year track record. In fact, in 2023, at $100 played per game, you would have netted over $9,300. And guess what? I'm just the warm-up act. Steve Merrill, our ace in the hole, show stopper from Wager Talk. 6 years with the voice of college football, over 30 years in the industry. Steve gives us analysis on all the big games, but you can't miss Steve's weekly Under the Radar pick, which went 21-5 against the spread the last 2 seasons. I repeat, 21-5 against the spread. You also get picks from some of our top analysts here at the Voice of College Football, including Steve Dace and Matt Zemek. Become a YouTube channel member or Patreon member for just $99 per month. Go to the main channel on YouTube, click join, and select the betting tier. Do the same thing on Patreon. Make 2024 a winner now.
And that's not all. Also, check out the Under the Radar pick of Steve Merrill, as right now he is 2-1 this season against the spread. Only loss so far is Duke beating the spread against UConn, which they beat UConn, but they didn't beat the spread. But don't you worry. It's always a good idea. When having your parlay all set, it's always a great idea to put the Steve Merrill Under the Radar pick of the week on that parlay sheet. It's a wise investment, friends.
Making money.
Oh, yeah. Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money. Oh, yeah. Yep, like Scrooge McDuck, swimming in a pool of coins, just spitting it out.
There you
go. And don't forget, catch Crimson Tide live on your favorite audio platform on Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, and all kinds of other apps where you can listen to podcasts. Let me tell you, this is the go-to to listen to Alabama football news and notes. Believe me, you won't regret it. Well, and I wanted to go over also what we need to work on, like during the bye week. Because like I know that Kalen DeBoer in week 2, he stressed that the offensive line needed a lot of work. And I know some people were talking about our secondary. What are you thinking like that we need to work on?
Bye week, typically just getting back down to taking a long, serious look at your film and what you learn from those mistakes. I think offensive line needs to work on the hand placement, keeping the hands in, and communication is always a big issue, and especially it's going to be a big issue this coming next game with the loud. I mean, it's going to be loud. And so you got to, your hand signals. I know they're talking in the the helmet and the little green dot, stupid stuff and that kind of stuff. But it's going to be communication. They're going to turn the volume, the speakers out on the practice field, and it's going to be noisy and prepare, for the big situations. And then probably. Your timing issues with your receivers, kind of work a little bit with regard to that and get people healthy. If anybody's banged up, give them a couple of extra days off and that. And then you got to take a look and see, what is Georgia doing? Where is their success? And that's what I'm going to do between now and Georgia game. And I'll come back with something next week when we talk. I'm going to look at Georgia and see what they're doing. Okay. Now I know during the course of the season, they're probably taking a little bit of peek at Georgia, but now they're going to really, sit down and pay attention. And so that's what I'm going to do. And then look at what you're doing, look at your rotation with your players, who's doing what in what situation. Can we get a better rotation here in these types of situations? Find out where your success is, and then identifying where your failures are. And that's what you do is just and get back to the basics. Practice your fundamentals, tackling, catching, and the big game scenarios. Big game scenarios. What do you noise and what are you going to do in these times? Be prepared for a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I'm just waiting to see what happens because we're going to be watching a little bit of game film on some of our opponents, like including Tennessee and Oklahoma, where College Game Day is going to be going to town for the first SEC conference game for the Oklahoma Sooners. I'm curious about what Nico Lima-Leva is going to bring out for Tennessee because, so far, Tennessee's been dominating everybody.
Yeah, no, but I just I haven't been able to really sit down and watch because look at the schedule and that. So what the scores and what and I look at Ole Miss and they're running up the stats and the scores and stuff.
No.
But I don't base any. Now we'll find out a little bit about Tennessee. We'll find out, we're hitting the first real core of the SEC season. So now we'll find out what, everything else is just a prelude. Now we'll start to figure out, how good a player is this, how, especially these unknowns that haven't played before. We already know about Milroe and some of these guys, Carson Beck, we know about them, but now these other guys that are making some noise, now we'll be able to, really, now the competition begins. So we'll learn a little bit more than what we knew in these first three, preseason games.
And we got my IT guys giving out a comment saying, "Great show, heading into class. I'll watch the rest later." Absolutely. Well, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it, man.
Heading into class. They must be going to graduate classes.
Yep.
We're doing that master's.
He's learned a lot more about tech stuff, and I'm gonna tell you right now, it's awesome. He does a great job. I mean, he does a great job here at Jackson. He does a great job helping me with a lot of stuff here for Crimson Tide Live.
Yeah.
So, and Joey says he's got to get ready for his live. I invite everybody to tune in to West Virginia at the Voice of College Football, 7 p.m., 6 p.m. Central Time, and that's right. He's going to be tuning in, as he's going to be giving his take on the West Virginia Mountaineers. And he and Shane are going to be asking, would you rather have a home game or would you rather have a bye week? Especially for the playoffs. But, there's going to be a lot of things to figure out for the West Virginia Mountaineers. Mm-hmm. And also you can tune in to Longhorns Live from Matthew Miller as he gives his take on the Quinn Ewers injury and how long he's going to be recovering. The recap on UTSA, the recruiting, and the preview of Louisiana Monroe. Stay tuned. Mm-hmm. But speaking of injuries, we saw one Thursday night involving one of our good buddies at Alabama, Tua Tagovailoa. And that hurt badly.
Tua has nothing to prove, and I know he's going to rely on his doctors and what they say, but it's not going to get any better for him. And I don't know how much definitive proof we have on concussions and all that. It's still in the developmental stages, what we really know with regard to it. But what we're finding is not good, even at the slightest level. So he has nothing to prove. He's a great guy, great individual, great family. I just hope it's not ego. I know if it were me, I would really, because I've had concussions. I've had several of them playing ball and stuff like that. And it seemed like it got easier. The first concussion seemed like it was a harder hit to me when it happened to me. And then later when I had, like my third or fourth one, it was, hardly anything. And boom, I was out. And I'll never forget, we were playing Southern Illinois, the Salukis up there, and I went in on tackle and hit my head, and of course they had to escort me off the field. And I'm standing on the sideline. I think it was in the second half, and I'm looking at the sky, and of course they've got me in, my shoulder pads are going, and helmet's going, all that kind of stuff. And I turned to the right, and I'm looking at the sky, and it just kept. And finally, I turned and I looked, and I said, "Don't I know you?" He said, "You ought to. I'm your roommate." So that was, halftime of a football game that I was in, and it was in the tackle. It was pretty much, it wasn't much at all. And next thing you know, I'm lights out. So it's just not going to get any. Once you get that first bell ringer, that seems like the second, third, fourth, it's less and less and less. And how many do you want to suffer through?
Did you have like a concussion where it was like where the fingers were looking all crooked? Like where is
No. Mine basically was one when I was out. And it depended, playing quarterback. I remember, seeing it seemed like little silver specks. And then the others that I had, I just kind of slowly woke up out of it. But when you see him clinching and doing that and convert, the convulsions and stuff and tensing and I mean, that's some serious nerve
Man.
stuff right there. So, and bless his heart, that guy is a warrior. He's a great player, and he's gonna have a great future. Probably be a good broadcaster. ESPN, he's got a bright future. So I hope I know he's going to make the right decision because he's a smart guy. But just don't let your ego and your all the testosterone. I'm gonna keep going. Ain't gonna defeat me.
Yeah.
Just do it some. You got the rest of your life.
Yeah, because I remember 2018 he had that ankle injury, and he got hurt in 2019. Then that season ended again after where they played Mississippi State. He had that hip injury, and honestly, he should just sat out Mississippi State, waited for Auburn. Honestly, I don't think anybody would have blamed him. Honestly,
yeah. And I'll tell you another thing too. I remember seeing Silver Specs and Deja Vu. It's like sometimes when you get that bell rung, you can start experiencing, it seems like a little deja vu, like hadn't this, and it's happened before. Haven't I, that's a weird aspect of it also. But doctors need to, I hope he gets the best.
Yeah.
That was serious. I mean, this is serious stuff. I mean, it's just happening over and over and over. And when you see him on the ground, I mean, it's horror. I mean, it's horrific. He's whew, it ain't, getting up and that kind of stuff. I mean, he is out.
It was just not good. Like, yeah, it's just like at this point, and the scary part was when he had that concussion last Thursday. He got tackled by Damar Hamlin, who he himself had a huge injury on January 2nd, 2023 against the Bengals on Monday Night Football. So that was
randomness of fate, irony. I mean, just all of it. I mean, just but Hamlin's back, but
thank goodness.
Yeah, thank goodness. But I mean, this is over and over and over and over with Tua. It's not just one-off incident. It's over and over. So
yeah, because I mean,
it's a nerve. It's something. But anyway,
yeah,
they'll make the right decision.
I mean,
you got the rest of your life, my man. You got the rest of your life, and he's going to live a good life too.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of it's worse than Andrew Luck. Honestly, it's way worse than how the Colts handled Andrew Luck.
Yeah, and then there was a great debate with Luck, but there's not a lot of debate with Tua. Not a lot. Of debate at all. People want to debate Luck, but not Tua.
True. I mean, nobody's really debating Tua for sure.
No. If they are, they're idiots.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I say let him talk to a wall. It's like Grandpa Simpson yelling at the clouds. But on a brighter note, we were going over a little bit about 2026, 2027, but unfortunately, we may not be able to play West Virginia because of the fact that they want to keep the rivalry going with Pitt. And I honestly say, after what we saw, like it was like on the one hand, I hate it because I hate it for both schools. Like I wish there was a way West Virginia could have Alabama and Pittsburgh, and I always like for Alabama to have like a really tough non-con schedule. I want it to look kind of like 1978, where we had Nebraska, Missouri, USC, and Washington.
Yeah, I remember that one. I remember those games. Watching them. But no, you need to keep those traditional rivalries and Oklahoma State. Just look at all the rivalries we're losing. I mean, if you have any option, any way to maintain the rivalries, do it. I mean, they've stood the test of time. And so why throw it away? Because these powers that be want to consolidate and make all this, it's all a business, component to it. But traditional rivalries are to stay, and don't throw them away. That's where your money is too. I mean, if you want to talk money, I mean, that's where these two, the backyard brawl. I mean, it's traditional, and keep doing it, and it's fun, and if they want to make money, this game definitely make money.
Oh yeah. Well, we
I
know
know
Pitt.
Alabama would make money too, but I'm just saying, shoot, I'd keep my traditional rivalries and bottom line.
Oh yeah. Well, when we're looking at West Virginia's non-conference schedule, and we see Pitt. So we know that they're going to play Pitt again from 2029 to 2032. And I agree with you. We should not be going a full decade without this rivalry. I mean, it's bad enough that my generation and millennial generations don't know anything about the Alabama Georgia Tech rivalry, which, I mean, I'll go on a full on rant about that in the off season.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's a shame that we don't have Pittsburgh, Penn State, or Florida, Miami, and numerous other rivalries on an annual basis. So it's great for college football that we're going to see Pitt, West Virginia back on an annual basis from what it looks like.
But
And
you don't want that gap. And a lot of people don't remember how good a rivalry Georgia and Georgia Tech was. I mean, excuse me, I'm sorry, Alabama and Georgia Tech. And somebody needs to show them that picture of Bear Bryant walking on the field with a helmet, wearing a helmet. Remember that?
Oh,
Georgia Tech game. He walked on the field. He was worried, there was all this talking going on or whatever, and he wore a helmet onto the field.
Well, plus Georgia Tech's literally in our fight song.
Yeah.
They're literally in our fight song. It's like people have forgotten that. That's been memory hold out of existence for some people.
Exactly.
Like, why? Why would you I know we're going to play Georgia Tech in 2029, 2030, but there's no reason we need to be waiting 45 years for that game. No
Everybody and most people have forgotten the tradition, those type of things. And I thought that, I don't know what Georgia Tech was thinking. They should have stayed when they were in the Southern Conference. They should have, stayed. I think they went independent before they joined the ACC or whatever, but they should have stayed when the SEC was formed. They should have stayed. They had a great opportunity there and missed it.
Agreed, 5 Adam. Playoff needs to reward strength of schedule. Kind of like an NCAA tournament. I agree. I mean, that needs to happen. Strength of victories and strength of schedule. That should be rewarded. So I made a mistake. I thought it was 20.
Pitt is a great example. I mean, West Virginia, Alabama, West Virginia Pitt is also a good strength of schedule game.
Agreed. I mean, because at Pitt, that's where dreams go to die. We saw that for West Virginia this year for right now. And last year we saw that for Louisville. Sorry, Austin. But that's just what happens. And 2026, 2027, yeah, it looks like we can have Alabama, West Virginia scrubbed out or moved for a future home and home. Now let's look at Pitt. So Pitt will have to move their Miami, Ohio game to week 4 or another week. So they're probably going to have to get on the phone real soon.
Mm-hmm.
In 2027, they've got that Ireland game against Wisconsin. So I'm thinking Pitt, West Virginia will have to be on Labor Day for 2027. I mean, what do you think? A Labor Day game of the backyard brawl? How do you feel about that?
I'm pretty good. Long weekend. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That'd be good. Shoot, yeah.
Well, and I know that some people were saying they're trying to make it on rivalry week. They're trying to make it to be to a point where it can go on rivalry week, kind of like how Florida State, Georgia Tech, like that'd be pretty.
Rivalry week is gone. It'll be gone. Another tradition that's going to be out the whatever. It'll be gone. Yeah.
Maybe we need to get together.
These crazy schedules, it's not going to happen.
Maybe we should just get together and just like talk to the powers that be. Just be like, hey, bring all these rivalries back. Like
common sense. But no, it's all changing, and everything. Like I said, everything they do is to the detriment of the game and the the pageantry and the tradition, all of that is just all for got to have a dollar bill, and
Wow.
it's another one bites the dust.
Wow.
I hate to be the doomsdayer, but I mean, the writing's on the wall. You can see it. I mean, rivalry week.
Yeah, because I mean, there have been like some teams that are like, where do we benefit from playing this team? Where do we benefit? It's like, you're kidding.
It's like we talked a while back. I mean, the playing, you have rival rights. Alabama's going to finish the season playing Auburn, and then turn around and have to play the SEC championship game. I mean, what do you think in the future? One, I think they'll do away with the SEC championship. But I mean, if you're Alabama Auburn, do you want to play that game and then the next week have to play the SEC? I mean, we've done it in years past, but now we got Texas, Oklahoma, and we're playing a lot of conference games, and so better off move that game instead of having to bam back to back, because it's tough. It's tough enough already.
Well, Nick DTV makes a great point. I don't get why we can't just start the conference games early. Just give the last game a non-conference, take one of the non-con slates and move it to the end of the year and replace it with a conference game.
Well, I guarantee you that, yeah, they're talking about that. There's all kind of models and scripts they're going through, but the tradition is it's almost over. Just everything is just biting the dust with it.
Well, I mean,
say goodbye.
Well, I think we can figure something out. I mean, it's like we can get a lot of people together. Just be like, hey, let's make an Instagram ads campaign, TikTok campaign, YouTube, all of it. Like, I think we should do something like that. Honestly, like all of us, like on all the channels at the Voice College Football, let's make a campaign to bring back some of the rivalries in all college football.
Yeah. I mean, you got a voice, you got to use it.
Nobody
until you make a statement, you got to make a sound. The sound's got to start from someone. The opinion, and of course, see where it goes. It's the bottom line. The grassroots campaign. Sometimes they take over, and people are like, "Yeah, we're screwing up a good thing. You guys, you little guys wearing these ties, making all stinking money, and then all you're doing is ruining everything that's been. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You're just screwing it up. Maybe we have to reel them back in. You've gone too far."
Yeah. Instead of West Virginia playing Pitt this past weekend, switch it with a conference game, put Pitt at the end. I like that. And also, I'll add for Pitt, like, let's see if we can get Pittsburgh and Penn State to come back. That would be pretty cool, honestly. Like, I want to see that come on as much as possible.
Yeah, and these intra-state, I mean, rivalries, you're losing those. I mean, Pitt, Penn State. I mean, two largest. What are they? Aren't they the two largest universities?
Two largest. Yeah.
And then you lose that Oklahoma State. You lose that. I mean, what are people thinking? I don't get it.
I know, right?
Yes, that's why you may need a grassroots campaign. These guys are just screwing it up.
And I can tell you right now, if you want, you can come on in and call in on the College Football Show with Mark Rogers, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Central Time, as he brings on some of the biggest experts in all college football to give their take on the latest games for the week ahead. And I can tell you right now, he also throws in the call-in link, and you can call in to give your take on just about anything involving college football, whether if it's during the week on what's going on, what went on last week, or you can give them a venting session on why some of the rivalries being taken away and how it's bad for college football. I know I've done it a few times, and I can tell you right now, you won't regret it.
All right.
And it looks like we are 10 minutes away from the start of Texas Longhorns Live at the Voice College Football, as Matthew Miller will be going over his take on the Longhorns this week and what happened last week, and the Mountaineer show from Joey Foster on which would you rather have, a home game or a bye week? That's for Mountaineer fans to decide. Johnny, what's your final thoughts on the Alabama Crimson Tide this week? And
Major step forward. Major step forward. Very, especially in that atmosphere up there, away game. I thought they performed very, very well. Cut the mistakes down, penalties, good performance all around. Very good. I would give them. I would give them a 90, 92.
yeah,
Which is a lot better than I would have given against South Florida, in Western Kentucky. But a lot better, a lot of improvement. Once you see the improvement, it's a good thing. And I think they're going to surprise Georgia. I think they're going to surprise a lot of people.
oh yeah,
Yeah, they're figuring things out about themselves, and so that's a good thing. And DeBoer seems to be real positive. He's got a good rapport, and there's not a lot of questions with well there were some questions, but they're starting to answer them, so we'll see. Georgia will be interesting. It'll set the table for the rest of the season. We'll know what to expect against Texas and Auburn and these other teams, Tennessee. So a lot of improvement.
yep. Well, I can tell you right now, NetDTV, if you want to call for Fire Neil Brown, well, I can tell you right now, you can come on in to West Virginia at the Voice College Football to vent to Joey and Shane as they bring you their take on the Mountaineers. And of course, you can find me on YouTube at Jackson Johnson 979 on YouTube. And you can also find me on Jackson VOCFB on X. You can find me on Jackson Johnson 543908, where I will be going over my takes on what's going on in all college football and also give the updates on what's going on in the latest episodes of Crimson Tide Live and on the latest episodes of the Jacksonian, including my latest episode with Joey Weaver from Basketball Conference, the ACC Football Podcast from Friday afternoon. And also got some upcoming episodes with some Michigan contributors on Wednesday night. We will be filming that, releasing it on Thursday. And I've got a very special guest coming up from at On3 Dodds HQ. And let me tell you, next week, we've got some special people coming up. So stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss it. I appreciate
you. You reckon game day's coming to Tuscaloosa?
Well, I mean, they already decided that at the moment. They decided that.
I didn't. Okay. All right. It's going to be interesting to see Georgia.
Well, and plus, they decided, I'm sure they decided it a year ago by putting it on Saturday Night Football.
Yeah. DeBoer and Saban will be sitting probably side by side.
Yeah. I mean, because like Saban, covering his team, I wonder if it's going to feel awkward. Because I know we talked about a few weeks back.
It'd be killing him. I mean, just inside.
It's late.
Is he going? Yeah, right there. It's gonna be fun. Can't wait. It's
kind of like seeing your aunts at a pool party where it's like, oh crap, it's awkward. Because I mean, I can tell you right now, I've been there, and that was like,
don't want to avoid the eye contact.
No, it's like, but here we go. And thank you for the compliment, NetDTV. And I appreciate all of you tuning in to Crimson Tide Live on Alabama at the Voice College Football. I appreciate all of you tuning in to Alabama at the Voice College Football and helping get it to 2,400 subs. This channel is now 100 subs away from the magic number 500. Not 500, 2,500, excuse me. That'll be an outtake of the year. So let's tune in. Let's give it 2,500 subs, and let's get it to 3,000 subs. Let's get it there, everybody. And I can tell you right now, you're not going to regret it because you'll get some of the top news and notes, top stats on Alabama football. Stay tuned. You're not going to miss it. And with that, I wish you all a very happy Monday night. Stay safe, stay cool. And Johnny, what you got going on?
Nothing much. I'm hoping next week I'll be downstairs in my little cave, setting it up so I can broadcast can I say this word? Man cave.
Absolutely.
In my cellar. I live in a real old house. It's built in 1909, and I mean, it's a beautiful house and everything, but it's got a cellar and it's beautiful, and I'm working on it.
There we go.
All right.
And on that note, we end the show with a Roll Tide from 5 Adam.
Okra.
And y'all have an awesome night. Stay safe, stay cool, stay away from what's left of that summer heat in Alabama. Take care, everybody.